Hey, Drawing 2 students, this will be the third and final demonstration for your candy composition. As you can see, I've started to do some refining of my shapes. Here's the reference photograph that I've been working from. Really just trying to get down the basic idea of where the individual planes are, the top of the piece of candy and the side of the piece of candy. Some of the details where the wrinkles in the wrapper are as well. Not only can I use this reference picture, but I can actually, look at the candy itself and look at the wrapper in my hand so I can draw that a little bit more accurately also. Now we're getting to a point where it's time to add some color. So what I'm thinking about as I open up my colored pencils here are what are the colors that I have already in my pencil box that are the closest. And if I'm just looking at this yellow color to start with, and well, let's go ahead and pull out this pink color as well. I can start making some decisions here. That's going to be the closest yellow. I need to think about how I'm going to add shadow to that. Now, looking at this photograph, it looks pretty dark. If I want to match that color, I'd probably add some black to it, but I want a more vibrant color, so I'm going to leave black out of the equation altogether. And instead of using black or even a blue, because if I put blue on top of orange, it's going to go green, and I don't want my shadow to be green. I'm going to add just a darker orange, or excuse me, a darker yellow, which is this Spanish orange color. I'll use that at first. If it's still a little bit too dark, I think a little too light for my shadows, I will probably use a little brown in there rather again than go with black. Now when it comes to the pink part, as far as shadows go, I really like this mulberry color for the shadows in here, in the shadow part of the pink. So I'll probably use that pencil, but we'll kind of have to see as we go along. Now, as I get started, one thing I want to kind of consider is, let me zoom in on this here, is when I start adding colored pencil, I really don't want much of that graphite showing, especially with a light color pencil. So what I'm going to do is start to come in here with my yellow. But I notice I'm drawing right next to the graphite, not on top of the graphite. And then I'm going to take my eraser and kind of get rid of that graphite. And by graphite, I mean just the regular pencil. So in effect, I'm kind of tracing that. I'm just going to brush that away. If you happen to have, in your house a paintbrush, that would be better, for brushing away that graphite. So that the oils on your hand don't affect the paper. So I'll start just by throwing down kind of an outline. I'll erase that graphite. Then I'll use my paintbrush again to get rid of those eraser marks. Make sure it's a clean paintbrush. And then I can start to throw down some color. Now here again, I would rather the color go down slow than fast. As you start to add your color, make sure that you can kind of see the texture of the paper, at least in the beginning, because the time will come when you'll want to add other colors to it. Now that's pretty good as far as just a direct translation of that yellow. That yellow pencil is pretty close. But I could take my blender and blend that a little bit more to get rid of some of the texture of the paper. So as I come down into the shadow area though, as I start working down into this area, I'm going to have to make some decisions about what to add to that color. To make it darker than the top. Now one thing I can do, as my paper is gray in color, I can just add a little bit less yellow. and that creates a little bit actually darker yellow because the paper is gray. But I am going to add a little bit of color to this, and as I'm working I need to make some decisions here as to what I'm going to add. And I kind of like that idea I mentioned of, you know, perhaps darkening the color a little bit with this Spanish orange, just to make it a shade or two darker than the yellow itself. And I think that might work out quite nice, actually. Again, rather than using black, I'm going to use another version of that same color, perhaps. So I'll continue with some yellow down through here. I'll make basically a coat of yellow over the whole thing. I'm going to erase that graphite. Kind of colored right over it, and it's hard to erase once you color over it. So I kind of made a mistake there, but we'll see if we can fix that.